And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornadoes athletics. Glad you're able to join us. Another exciting show on tap tonight. We're going to be talking volleyball, women's soccer, men's and women's tennis, and men's and women's cross country. But before we get started, as we always do, want to thank our sponsors. Really appreciate their support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Arby's, Brevard Orthopedics, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Jets Pizza, Pepsi, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Thank you for your support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, do want to catch you up since we saw you last, starting with the women's soccer team. They had a couple games last week versus Bob Jones, and then a conference opening road trip to Huntington. Those both ended up on the wrong side of the ledger for the Tornadoes, a 1-0 loss in each, but then a big 2-1 win in double overtime yesterday at LaGrange. Ashley Royster, the junior, finding the back of the net in the 107th minute. Justine St. Louis set her up with her first career assist, and the Tornadoes, as a result, get their first win of the USA South Conference schedule this year for the Tornadoes. Tay Brown also scored in that one. So great stuff there from the women's soccer team. Next up for women's soccer, home versus Piedmont, 7 p.m. on Wednesday at Ives Lamel Family Field. Hope to see you there under the lights. And then on Saturday, 2 p.m. versus Wesleyan, also at Ives Lamel Family Field. So opportunities this week to see the women's soccer team. Men's soccer, they had a game canceled at Greensboro due to weather, and then a 1-1 tie versus Huntington in the USA South Conference opener on Saturday. 4-1-2, their overall record heading into this week's games. Wednesday at Pfeiffer at 6 p.m. and then Saturday on the 2nd of October versus Covenant. This is a big one, a fascinating rematch of last year's West Division USA South Conference championship game. Should be a good one. 4:30 p.m. at Ives Lamel Family Field on Saturday. And also want to congratulate men's and women's soccer. They both were named U.S. Coaches Association Team Academic Award winners. Very prestigious award. That was announced earlier this week as well. Reserves men's soccer had a trip up to Mars Hill last week. Men's tennis hosted University of Virginia Weiss, and women's tennis also played Virginia Weiss as well as Johnson C. Smith. Wins by Hamrick Perry and Sophie Trantham. On the singles side of things, we'll talk more men's and women's tennis a little later. This weekend versus Milligan at 12 noon at the McCoy Tennis Complex. That's on Sunday. Football had a big game versus Huntington this past weekend, a 21-14 Huntington victory. Toby Naylor tying his career high with 13 tackles. Also big days defensively by Jerome Bass and Jeff Banning. Mitchell Yoder with a touchdown and a big day running the ball. Next up for the Tornadoes at Greensboro, 4 o'clock this Saturday. And then next home game versus Maryville. That's 2 p.m. on Saturday, October the 9th at Ives Lamel Family Field. That's part of the homecoming festivities here at Brevard College. Cross country, they were in Charlotte this past Friday, where 11 Tornadoes set personal records. We're going to talk to head coach Darryll Patrick about that sensational result at the Queen City Invite in Charlotte. Next up for the Tornadoes, another trip to Charlotte, but that's not till Friday, October the 8th. Cycling had mountain bike action at Lindsey Wilson College. Next up for cycling, a trip to Beach Mountain, just up the road in the Boone, Blowing Rock, Banner Elk area. This event hosted by Lees McRae College. That's the conference championships this weekend for mountain biking. And that brings us with a 3-1 win at Piedmont last Wednesday. And then after hosting a tri-match this weekend, next up for the Tornadoes, another tri-match, this one on the road at LaGrange. And then the next home game versus Agnes Scott on Wednesday, October the 6th at 7 p.m. And to talk even more volleyball, we're pleased to have with us our volleyball coaching staff. Familiar faces to the program here, head coach Anna Grant and assistant coach Kia Kaufman. Coach Grant, Coach Kaufman, thanks for joining the show.
Hello, thanks for having us again.
Great to have you again. And it has been all things volleyball around here at the Bosch lately. A 10-match tournament, the USA South crossover tournament, was hosted by the team, about 9-10 days ago, and then a tri-match this past Saturday. I know at the same time, you guys are, certainly getting the team ready. But first, from that hosting standpoint, hosting a tournament where there's 10 matches in less than 48 hours, and then hosting a tri-match on another busy day on campus, I'm sure you almost have to put on sort of your event management hat a little bit as well. Coach Grant, can you kind of get us started there? How those events went for you and the program altogether?
Yeah, so I think ultimately, like we've talked about before, it's just great to have events and people back on campus, enjoying Brevard's campus and getting to have spectators. So that alone is worth all the work. None of it could be possible without you guys and the admin team, and Stephanie Johnson and game day administrator just works her tail off pretty much every single day, getting ready for games and making sure that everything looks good on our end. And the softball program has done awesome helping out at our matches. So I want to give a shout out to them. They just, they come in and they help work, and head coach Bree Sheeran is the game day administrator. So she keeps everyone in check, and they just do an awesome job. So on top of just loving being able to host, it's great that we have awesome support staff and administrators that want to host these events and want to make them a great event, not just show up and get what you get. Everyone's very well taken care of. So that's a huge advantage from our point. It certainly makes teams want to come back and play here. And, that is always helpful when you're playing on your home court. So it's good not to have to be on the road, although I was very proud of our team for picking up a road win on Wednesday. But ultimately, just being at home and having that familiarity is always great.
Yeah, and Coach Kaufman, now heading on the road, next up is a tri-match similar to what we hosted here, but you're in the other team's shoes in a sense, where you're the one visiting and you're the one watching the match, especially if it ends up going 4 or 5 sets before you kind of push the start time back potentially and that kind of thing. What's the key from the student athlete standpoint as far as like staying focused when there's that much going on with all those multiple matches?
I think it's just being prepared and being mentally ready from the day you start. I mean, game day is a lot longer than just the 60 minutes before we warm up. I feel like it kind of starts from you wake up, you have a whole routine in the morning. So I think it's being prepared and being ready to step on the court whether we have an hour to warm up or 30 minutes to warm up, and just being able to go take care of business.
And Coach Grant, you mentioned it, that 3-1 set win over Piedmont, obviously a big match. That was the conference opener. You're starting USA South Conference play, and you start off with a win. For those who weren't able to tune into that stream, can you recap sort of the ebbs and flow of that match and what was the key to the victory?
Yeah, so I think from the beginning, I knew that statistically, but just overall our history with Piedmont, we've been pretty successful against them. And just knowing that we can take care of business and we know kind of what they do. They run a unique defense that we're used to kind of game planning around and getting them out of it, which is always fun from a tactical standpoint. So going into it, I think myself and the team felt very confident about where we were. And like Kia said, how prepared we were for the game. And the first set certainly did not go our way. Me and Kia were kind of scratching our heads, like, what are we going to do? Do we need to switch it up? Do we need to keep it? And, we decided ultimately to keep the lineup, and the girls just kind of flipped a switch, and they just played with a lot of energy. They had a lot of runs behind the serving line, and they just executed really well. Our 2 outsides had an amazing night. Ashley Hoxit hit over 400, I believe. And so, having our outside hitters just go off was ultimately probably one of the biggest reasons why we won. Everything they touched was gold that day. So that was awesome. And just we had some big leads. We'd let them come back a little bit. And so there was definitely some tense times throughout the game. It wasn't an easy match by any means. But it was one of those games where you did feel like we were in control the whole time, regardless of the score. So that's certainly something that we want to get back to and have that mentality for all of our matches, regardless of the opponent and their strengths and weaknesses.
Fantastic. Yeah. Congrats again on that big win over Piedmont. Then this Saturday, down 2-0 in sets to Huntington, and the team really battled hard to ultimately force a fifth set. Coach Kaufman, can you reflect back on that match and just, how resilient the team was to force that fifth set?
Yeah, it was really great to see them kind of, like Coach said before, like flip a switch and change their attitude, like when it mattered, because being down 2 sets and coming back is really tough mentally. So I think they showed a lot of resiliency and a lot of just strength mentally to push through and keep fighting, even though we were down to start. So I was really proud to see them come and battle back and go down swinging. So.
Yeah, whenever you get to that fifth set, it's sort of edge of your seat time, and not the result you all wanted, but I'm sure you're pleased with a lot of what happened in that one. And as we mentioned, next up a tri-match in LaGrange, Georgia. Matches against Maryville, but also LaGrange. And LaGrange's a team that you saw at the beginning of the season over at Emory University in that Atlanta, Georgia event. And that one went 5 sets. In fact, 15-13 in the fifth set. Anna, I'm sure some takeaways from that one in that LaGrange Brevard rematch, I'm sure is going to be quite the spectacle.
It will. They're a great team. They have a new coach this year. And I am familiar with her. We actually played together on a team a couple of years ago. So I know who she is. She played volleyball at Clemson. She's a great athlete, great competitor. So I know that going into this season, they were going to have a different mentality maybe than in the past, but they had struggled with some roster numbers and retention. So their roster looks a little bit different from what it did last year, but they're a very well-coached team. They're very scrappy. They just make plays happen. They just work really hard and they want to win. And so I think that game in Emory was just a battle of, point for point, and a lot of points could have gone either way. I mean, there were some sketchy ref calls both ways. There was just, balls falling 2 inches out or 2 inches long. And it could have really gone either way. So I'm excited for the conference matchups against them. I think both of them will be very competitive. And I'm looking forward to it certainly this weekend. And we have a big opponent in Maryville as well coming up. So it should be a very competitive day for us.
Yeah, competitive day, no doubt. That's on Saturday in LaGrange, Georgia. Then the next home game versus Agnes Scott on Wednesday, the 6th, back in the friendly confines of the Boschmore Gymnasium. Well, hang with us, coaches. We're going to bring in the student athletes who are waiting on deck here. And as joining us now, Ashley Hoxit and Bailey Lance. Good to see both of these two student athletes. Coach Grant, can you help us introduce these two?
Yeah, so both of them are new to the college this year. Obviously, Ashley as a freshman, but Bailey as a transfer. And they have just done an amazing job of stepping in and making big impacts in their respective positions right away. I'm really proud of them for, not really taking the, I'm new here role and kind of taking the back seat. They both kind of stepped on the court and were like, yeah, I'm here. Let's win some games and let's play hard. And they bring a lot of talent and a lot of determination and competitiveness to our team. So they've done a great job of fitting in, but also kind of pushing the level of our play. Bailey, especially defensively, and Ashley as an offensive attack person, just always ready to go at it and push the other hitters on our team to be better. So glad to have them both. And they're just great. I love them.
Fantastic. Appreciate that, Coach Grant. Coach Kaufman, anything to add on these two?
No, I mean, I think Coach talked about it a lot. I think they're great additions to the team. I actually got to work a little bit with Bailey over the summer coaching, and it's like I didn't realize that she was on the team until move-in day. So I was like super excited to see her, and then getting to meet Ashley as a high school player and getting to see how she's grown just in the short time that I've seen her has really been really fun to watch as a coach. So happy to have them.
Very good. Well, Coach Grant, Coach Kaufman, best of luck with the tri-match coming up at LaGrange. We'll see you back here on the Bosch on Wednesday the 6th. And congrats again on that season opening win at Piedmont. We'll see you soon at the Bosch. Coach Grant, Coach Kaufman, thanks for joining the show.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.
All right, there they go. So very pleased to be joined now. We have Bailey Lance with us, also Ashley Hoxit, and there they both are. Bailey Lance, thanks for joining the program, the sophomore defensive specialist from Mills River, North Carolina. Bailey, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
And also with us, Ashley Hoxit, the freshman outside hitter, also from this region, Balsam Grove, North Carolina, Rossman High School. Ashley, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having us here.
Well, Ashley, let's start with you because you had a big performance hitting at Piedmont. We were talking to your coaches about that win over in Demorest, Georgia, and certainly the team wanted to get off on the right start, for USA South Conference play, a 3-1 win. You had 19 kills in that one. Can you reflect back on that match? Were you particularly feeling it? What was the key?
That match has been my favorite match yet this season. Our energy was just there the whole game. And it made it like a lot more fun. And just the playing overall was a lot better and the environment was better.
Yeah, and certainly the result turned out the way you all as the Tornadoes volleyball team wanted it. And then Bailey, you had a big day defensively in that one as well. 28 digs in the win at Piedmont. What do you remember from that win?
Yeah, the energy was definitely there that day. I feel like some days it's kind of off, but there everyone was ready to go. We were all super pumped to play, and we knew Piedmont and us were really close statistically, and so we really wanted that win, and so we went out there and fought and gave it all we had.
Ashley Hoxit, 6 double-digit kill performances so far this year. You've made a big impact as a freshman here and just immediately hitting your stride. As far as being a hitter, what's the key to putting up those kind of numbers?
I think it's just being like ready for every set and making sure you're transitioning as hard as you can for every play, and just be ready for the ball and attack as hard as you can every time.
And Bailey Lance, you had a big match also, reflecting back to the win over LaGrange in Atlanta. This is the third game of the season. I don't know if you remember this one. I'm sure you do. We were talking to your coaches a little bit about it. You had a season-high 40 digs in that one, which is a huge number in that category. But most importantly, the Tornadoes ended up with that 5-set win, and then you're going to see LaGrange again this weekend. Do you recall that match?
Yes, that was a very fun match as well. We had the energy, and I feel like we all knew what we had to do, and we all wanted every ball up. We didn't want anything hitting the floor, so everyone was hitting the floor, getting everything. We were getting kills, and we're just playing very smart.
Well, would like listeners to get to know you all as far as your journey as a volleyball student athlete a little more. Ashley, you're from nearby Balsam Grove, but I'm sure you've been playing volleyball on all sorts of levels for a while. Can you kind of tell us about your journey and ultimately how you found Brevard College?
Yeah, so I started playing volleyball when I was 9 years old. I did the rec league, and then I started playing travel ball. I ended up playing under Excel Volleyball Club. Anna was the recruiting coordinator there while I was there, so I kind of had a connection with her there. Obviously, I knew about Brevard just being a local. That's kind of how I found out about the school and the program.
In Bailey Lance, sophomore defensive specialist from just up the road, Mills River, West Henderson High School. I'm sure you've known about Brevard College being a local as well, but can you tell us a little more about your journey?
Yes, I also started from a very young age. I played at Excel up until my 18th year, so I've known Anna for a long time as well. And then I originally committed to Queens, but ended up transferring here this year.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you both. And I'm sure it's got to be fun to be a local, and allows for your friends and family to really follow you closely and even attend some of the games. Has that been beneficial, Ashley, so far to, be at the local college of sorts?
Yeah, I definitely love it when I look up in the stands and I see my whole family and my friends from high school here supporting me. It's my favorite thing.
Same feeling for you, Bailey?
Yes.
Well, Bailey, tell us a little bit about off the court? What are your interests there? Have you decided on a major and what you might be pursuing academically?
Yes, I'm an elementary education major, and once I graduate, I want to be a first grade teacher.
Very good. And same question for you, Ashley. Don't expect you to have all the answers. You're a freshman here in college, but what do you have your eye on?
I'm an exercise science major, and I'm kind of flipping back and forth between athletic training and being a strength and conditioning coach.
Very good. Well, both great pursuits without a doubt. Before we let you go, do want to just talk a little bit more about kind of what it's like to be a member of the Brevard College volleyball team. Tell us what that sort of sisterhood's like. What's it like as far as team culture? How do you guys, operate? We get to see you on game day, but I'm sure you guys, are really close and have a lot of fun, all the way 7 days a week type of thing. Bailey, what comes to mind when I mention team culture?
We're just one big family. We see each other basically 7 days a week. We're up at 5:30 every day for practice if we don't have a game. So we're always there, even in classes. I know several of us have classes together so we can study together. We go out and have fun together. We're just always together, and I feel like that really helps us come together on the court.
Ashley, do you have anything to add to that in terms of team culture?
Yeah, we're just like one big family. It's kind of like joining a sorority. We're always with each other on and off the court throughout the day.
Well, always like to give student athletes the opportunity to give shout outs or thank yous to anyone who may have helped you along the way. Whether it's someone who might be listening or watching this program live or not, I want to give you each that opportunity. Bailey, Lance, the floor is yours. Shout outs or thank yous.
I definitely want to say thank you to Anna, especially for this opportunity. And then a shout out to my parents for always supporting me and always coming to all the games.
Ashley, same opportunity for you. Shout outs, thank yous.
I want to say a huge thank you to Anna for giving me this opportunity as well. And then my high school coaches, Jessica Whitmire and Ashton Williams, they always push me to do my very best. And then my family for always coming to my games and supporting me through everything I've done.
Fantastic. Well, Bailey Lance, the sophomore defensive specialist from nearby Mills River, and freshman outside hitter Ashley Hoxit, two major contributors to this volleyball team who is off to a great start in USA South Conference play with that win over Piedmont last week. And good luck, ladies, as you head to LaGrange for the tri-match. Then we'll see you back here at the Bosch on October the 6th at 7 p.m. versus Agnes Scott. Great job, ladies. Thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. There they go. So great talking some volleyball. It's been a lot of fun following that program so far this season. We're going to quickly switch gears. We're going from indoors to outdoors and heading to the soccer field, the pitch, as they say. And join with us now, Lena Hatter. Lena, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having us.
And also with us, Emma White, the senior defender. Emma, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's great to have you two here. We're just over 24 hours since you guys were celebrating the first USA South Conference win of the season. We're just getting started with this conference play, but you all were able to get the win on the road this weekend at LaGrange. 107th minute, Ashley Royster ends up with the game winner to break the deadlock and win in double overtime. Lena, when that goal occurred, when Royster found the back of the net, can you describe, sort of the feeling for yourself and the team?
Well, at first we kind of forgot that it was golden goal. So basically when it's golden goal, first team to score, wins the game. So we looked around for a second and then we realized that we had just won. So then the energy was just amazing on the field and just a big group team hug in the middle of the field. So it was a really, really awesome win for us.
And Emma, from your kind of center back position, you probably have a pretty good vantage point as things are developing up front. Had to feel sweet to get that game winner.
so sweet. I just remember two emotions I felt. I felt a calming wave when I saw it go in, and then I just ran with excitement to go celebrate with the team. It was something to remember there.
Very good. Well, both of you are key parts of this defense that's just been sensational all year. I mean, we've been coming up with statistics all season long about just how, tough you guys are on the defensive end and, pitching shutouts left and right. And, certainly, keeping the Tornadoes right there in it, for wins such as what we saw yesterday. Lena, when I mentioned that sort of success on defense, what's the key to that?
Honestly, the biggest thing I think is communication. Just talking with who's around you, talking about, I've got this player, I'm going to step up and get this ball, just stuff like that. And if you don't have that, then there's, you don't know what you're doing back there. So I think our defense is pretty bonded together, and we also know a lot of how each other plays. So really just paying attention to that and just constantly talking to each other on the field.
And Emma, we've seen this date back to last spring as well, and it's kind of an unusual situation where you guys had the spring season and now you're playing again in the fall, but you've been keeping this defense rolling. So same question to you, what's been the key defensively?
I think communication's a big part of it, but I think that goes throughout the whole team as well. I think a big part of it is going off of what Lena said again, just knowing each other, and we really kind of know what we're going to do before we even get the ball. Like, I know what our whole back line's going to do, and I think that just helps that we all kind of can read our minds in a sense and anticipate what's going to happen.
Very cool. Well, it's been great to watch it, and certainly some great goalkeeping behind you as well, whether it's, Rebecca or Cam Da Silva. Great stuff in the back from the Tornadoes. And we're really excited to, see what's around the corner as we really get this USA South Conference season swinging. But would like to learn a little about each of you. Describe yourself as a player, but also, your career as a soccer player. When'd you get started? How'd you ultimately find BC? Sort of open-ended for each of you. Lena, take us away.
Yeah, so I've been playing soccer since I was 5. I played club, high school, all that stuff. We had a lot of recruiting tournaments where we would play in Orlando, Florida, and like Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's actually where Coach Chelsea, my assistant coach, found me there and emailed me. And I'm actually from Brevard County, Florida. So this caught my attention. I was like, oh, wow, there's a Brevard in North Carolina as well. So definitely piqued my interest and came up and toured here. Absolutely loved it. The change of scenery, being from Florida, is really big for me. And yeah, I just fell in love with the school, and that's how I ended up here.
Very cool. Yeah, but sophomore from Atlantic, Florida, right there in that Melbourne Beach area, beautiful, beach location on the Atlantic Ocean. And you're right, Brevard County, Florida. So kind of a cool little connection there. Emma White, senior defender from Greensboro, North Carolina, Northern Guilford High School. Emma, tell us about your journey.
Yeah, so I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old. Went through rec, club soccer my whole life, and then played through high school as well with club. Then I went to a tournament at Wingate. I went to a few other ones and other camps. But then at Wingate, Aki, our previous assistant coach, had offered me a spot on the team, and I came and visited, fell in love, visited a few more times, and just kept falling in love with the area. I love the mountains, and I've lived pretty much all over at this point, and this is absolutely where I want to be. And I knew that from the moment, so fell in love with it. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, let's stick with you, Emma, for this next one because, senior year now. And so, you've been around this program and also this college for a few years now. For our viewers who might not quite understand what it's like to be a student athlete and a member of the women's soccer team here at Brevard College, can you tell us about the team culture and, just what makes Brevard College special?
I think what makes us so special is that, when we're not on the field, we're going to see each other around, or we have classes all together, and it just is such a close community, and we want to hang out with each other, branch out. We are like a family. We see each other all the time as well, and it's super neat to be able to have such a close personal relationships on the field and off the field as well. And
same question for you, Lena. What makes Brevard College and also being a BC women's soccer player a special experience?
Definitely agree with Emma in saying that we are like family. I actually look up to Emma a lot on the field. She is, I've learned a lot from her, playing with her, and just everyone was so inviting when we first got here. And I think just keeping that same friendliness and including everyone in everything we do. I think we do a really good job of that on and off the field.
Senior year, Emma, so you're nearing also the finish line in terms of graduation from Brevard College. Tell us about your academics, what your major and what your degree is going to be in, and if you've thought about, the next step following graduation.
Yeah, so I'm a health science major with a biology minor, and my plan is to go to grad school and continue through PA school. So that's where we're at.
Same question for you, Lena. Academics, certainly a big part of the student athlete experience at Brevard College and in Division III. Tell us what you're working on.
I'm currently a health science major. I'm planning to add a chemistry minor, and I want to be a dermatologist. So continuing school after as well.
Outstanding. Well, before we let you go, always want to give you the opportunity for any thank yous, shout outs, anyone you just want to, give a little hat tip to. The floor is yours. Lena, thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, just my mom, dad, Ryan, Zoe, Kai, and Trey, and my teammates, my amazing support system, all my friends here. Really thankful for everyone that is always supporting me.
Outstanding. Well said. Emma White, same opportunity for you. Thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my parents and my brother, and especially my grandparents as well. They're across the country, but they watch every single game. And of course, my friends around where I live and all my friends here.
Very good. Well, congrats again. That was a remarkable, fun win to follow from afar yesterday at LaGrange. For those who might just be tuning in, the Tornadoes women's soccer team, a 2-1 win in double overtime on Sunday. The game winner by Ashley Royster in the 107th minute. Tay Brown also scored in that one. Congrats on that double overtime victory. And then next up for the Tornadoes, you can check out the women's soccer team on Wednesday, a home matchup versus Piedmont. That's at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday versus Wesleyan, 2 p.m. at Lamel Family Field. Ladies, thanks for joining the program. Best of luck with your competition this week.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
Very good. So we're going to quickly switch gears yet again, going from women's soccer and heading over to the McCoy Tennis Complex as we're efforting Lily Farr and Andrew Ingram into the program. Lily, Andrew, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having us.
Outstanding. Well, Lily, we'll start with you. A senior season is upon us, and I'm sure it's an exciting time for yourself and the team. It's a little interesting with tennis where you guys have the fall season, then also the spring. But can you catch us up on how the fall has been going so far with yourself and the tennis team?
Yeah, sure. So I've been actually out with an injury, so I haven't been able to play. But for the team, it's a really great opportunity to play more, to kind of get that match play ahead of us, so that when spring comes around, we're so used to match play and being able to play against heavy hitters.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Andrew, what are the, sort of things you're working on as an individual, but also the team on the men's side this fall?
I'm a senior. I've been here. This is my fourth year. So in the past, I've had to play up, maybe a little higher than what I've wanted to in the positions. But this year we have a great group of freshmen that came in. We have a lot of role players, a lot of transfers. And so I'm able to play in a spot more comfortable, suited to my style of play. And so thanks to them, I've been able to improve a lot. And having some people that might be a little more skilled than me has helped a lot and build my game to where I want it to be.
Very good. Lily, you're from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And, we've talked about this before, but I know we've got some new viewers tonight. Tell us a little bit about, one, how you found Brevard and, ultimately became a tennis student athlete here coming all the way from New Mexico, but also sort of those differences. That's a completely different place than the mountains of Western North Carolina.
Yeah, it is. The weather itself is really weird. We don't have humidity. All we have is just really dry heat. So whenever I come back here from break, that's definitely a shocker. I came here because my brother went here. He played lacrosse, and he really enjoyed it. He felt like this was his second home. So after being to 2 different schools, I thought I'd give it a go, and I'm really happy where I am. Being a tennis player here has been really great. I've been able to, be on top of my studies, but having the tennis family here, it really helps me stay motivational.
Very good. And, I know your brother Hewitt has been able to come over and actually, catch some matches from time to time.
Yes, yeah, he loves it. He's happy to actually see me play college because I wasn't able to see him play. So it's been really nice.
Very cool. And Andrew Ingram from Belmont, North Carolina, Stuart Kramer High School. So not quite as far as Lily, but, certainly, a little bit of distance between your hometown and the mountains here. Can you kind of tell us about how you found Brevard and also how do you like it up here in the mountains?
4 years ago when I was looking for colleges, the first time I ever heard of Brevard was when our team made state tournament in high school, and we had to come up here and play Brevard High School, and they play on the college courts. So that's the first time I ever heard it. We got beat real bad. That's a bad memory of me. It took us longer to drive up here than it did to actually play the match. And then at the time, it was Evan Schreiner was our coach, and I toured because I liked the campus a lot and everything. And I talked to Evan, and he offered me a spot on the team right there. And I said, you know what, I want to continue my career as a tennis player, and this is my best opportunity for me in my future.
Very good. Well, we're just thrilled that each of you chose Brevard and have, settled into, this experience as a member of the tennis team. We've been talking about team culture with some of the other student athletes from some of the other teams, and would love to hear from each of you. What's it like to be a member of the Brevard College tennis team? And, tell us a little bit, how you guys are close as a team and, lift each other up and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so being a part of the tennis team is really fun. We also all live together. So one village is tennis players, second village is tennis players, and we go to each other for anything, even if we're having a bad day, if we need help with homework, or if we just want to hang out with each other. It's such a nice feeling because we feel safe with each other. And going to practice, we can just vibe off each other. All of us have great energy when we are all in a group. So it's just a really great feeling to have them.
Andrew, anything to add to that in terms of team culture?
I mean, she nailed it on the spot. We all live right there. We lost kind of that team bonding a little bit a few years ago, back when Brad, Coach Jones, first made his appearance. I was the only upperclassman on the team, and there's a lot of freshmen. And then now that we're living together, I'm able to connect and get to know the younger players a little more.
Well, there's still some action this fall that folks can check out, beginning this Sunday versus Milligan, and then there's matches on Sunday the 10th as well at the McCoy Tennis Complex as the social media messages continue to roll in for you two. The McCoy Tennis Complex, awfully nice facility for the NCAA Division III level, one of the better ones in the nation. Has everything you could possibly hope for, right, Lily?
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's so nice to have a bunch of courts, and we're able to get through the matches quicker instead of just waiting on 3 courts.
Yeah, very spectator friendly as well. No doubt about that. And you've got that locker room and players lounge as well, correct, Andrew?
Yeah, so it's great to have our own little space where we can just get away if we need to do anything. It's obviously one of the biggest complexes I've played at, D3 wise. Maybe the other biggest college complex might be the USTA Center in Orlando, but that was a really special trip. I don't think anything from what I've seen or heard anyone has anything nicer than us. So it's great being there and having our own little area.
Well, you're both seniors, so you're also nearing the finish line in terms of graduation and your academics. Lily, tell us about your academics.
So I'm a criminal justice major with a minor in psychology. So I'd say my classes are, average, but I do have a lot of studying for psychology. There's a lot of major things that I need to learn. But overall, it's just, finishing at this point. So I'm trying my best.
Very good. And Andrew, what are you majoring in? And tell us a little more about what your plans are post-graduation.
So I'm a criminal justice major and a minor in business. I don't really have any specific plans. I want to feel out what I want to do. Not terribly sure yet. But shout out Michael Moretti. He's been helping me along the way. I've been talking to him a lot about maybe future plans, internships, stuff like that.
Very good. Well, you got the first shout out of the night going, Andrew. Take it from there. Anybody else you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to?
My parents for pushing me to senior year. It's not always had its easiest times. I've definitely had a lot of struggles in there, but they've always believed in me and all my friends. Lord knows that how many different people we've had in and out of the tennis team, and so I've been able to connect with a lot of different people. It's been a lot of fun. Lily's the only other senior that's been here the longest, so shout out to her. We've been really close for the past few years now. We're like family at this point, and it's a great time.
Very good. Andrew Ingram, appreciate you joining the program. Same opportunity for you, Lily. Thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family. I miss them so much. And my brother and his girlfriend, Megan, who works for the school. My favorite New Yorkers, and Andrew, obviously, because he gets me through a lot, especially my team. I love my team, so thank you guys for being there for me.
Very good. Well, check out the men's and women's tennis teams this weekend, Sunday at noon at the McCoy Tennis Complex versus Milligan. Lily Farr, Andrew Ingram, seniors from those tennis teams. Thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and there they go. So from the tennis court to the cross-country trails, we're going to bring in cross-country head coach Darryll Patrick. Great to have you back on the show here, Coach Patrick. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Phil. How are you doing?
Doing great, thanks, especially as I look back on some of these results from Charlotte, North Carolina this past Friday evening. A whopping 11 personal best, so personal records set in that one on both the men's and women's side. Can you kind of put that into words and kind of explain exactly what went down in Charlotte and that kind of performance for the Tornadoes?
Yeah, very overall unexpected, especially early on in the season. We knew Charlotte's a fast course. I told you that before. Great running conditions. It was probably low 70s, no hardly any wind. So you just go out there and race, have fun, compete. I told both teams, because we've had a good block of training for the past month, just go out there, be patient, run smart, don't get caught up in the big race, because there's overall there was like 50 teams, but I think each gender had over about 45 total per gender to compete. So, don't get caught up in seeing the really fast and very competitive high-end runners at that moment. Let them come back to you because sometimes they take off a little too quick the first mile or two. So I think the ladies did a terrific job being patient with that. They start out, even a little conservative the first mile. And then from there, from that big herd of people over in front of them, they started picking them off one by one. And 3 of the 5 girls, PR ran personal bests. So I could have been more proud of how we started out there in the 5K. And then the same thing with the guys. I told them, hey, give me 1 to 2 miles at my pace. Relax. Don't get caught up in that. And, from there, have fun, compete. We'll see what happens. And sure enough, they stuck with that race plan. And then that next thing you know, they started picking people off one by one. And I didn't really realize what was happening until about a half mile to go, because there's not many mile marks. There's only like 1 mile mark. So you just kind of have to run around and guess. And I knew where the half mile left was. And I just looked at my watch and I was like, oh my gosh, like we're actually running really good. Like they're really kicking butt right now. So I think, considering everything that's gone on the past month with the training, could have been more proud. And, Methodist was just barely beat us. I thought we had them. They're ranked higher than us, but I definitely think we put them on notice as well as other schools in our conference. So could have been more proud.
Yeah, it's just a sensational evening in Charlotte in a competitive field, over 30 institutions represented, and just a tremendous performance. 11 PRs by the Tornadoes, 8 on the men's side, 3 on the women's. Coach, for folks who just might not realize just how significant that is, from the runner's standpoint, in this sport, that PR is probably always in the back of your head, and it's what you're always aiming for, correct?
Yep. Our sport, it's you're always competing against time. You have your teammates and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're just focused on trying to run as hard as you can that day. Sometimes you might not beat the clock that you would like, but at the end of the day, that's ultimately what you're competing against. So you can finish 100th place, but you ran a 2-minute PR. Like that's exactly what happened to my teams. So and they were very excited and happy for it. So that's the joy and the true love for the sport. So obviously from a team standpoint, we know we're going to get better because we're young, but we're always competing against time.
So next up is another trip to Charlotte on Friday, October the 8th. Is that at the same course?
Yep, same course. Queens University, they like to host 2 to 3 meets there. So I want my teams to feel confident and ready to race, get some good fast competition. I figured why not go there again? And then from there we get 3 weeks until conference. So I think that's a good time to, focus on running fast, running competitive. And then 3 weeks from there, we're focused on trying to do well at conference.
And Coach, I don't know if we've ever discussed this specifically, but, you've got a week or 2 in between events. How often do you have to reel the team in a little and say, hey guys, let's rest and let's recover, and then we'll get back to training?
Yeah. You kind of have to have an addictive personality with our sport to you just got to really get used to doing it every day, and taking one day off feels like 1 week or even longer. So it's a good problem to have, is to rein them in and say, hey, it's okay to take a day off. Like your body's just, tired, or we just had a good race. Like it's okay to relax for a day. And then after, cross country, I usually give them about a week or 2 off to, recover, focus on their studies more, and then get right back into it. And the same thing once track season's over, same thing, give them about a week or 2, and then kind of slowly build them up from there. So, just like with any sport, but especially ours, like it's important to run almost all year long just to get better. My high school coach always said it best. Running is the easiest, hardest sport there is. It's easy because all you got to do is run. it's hard because you got to do a lot of running year in and year out just to see those times drop just 10 seconds or 30. It teaches you a lot about life. And that's one reason why I coach is, you have your ups and downs, and it teaches you a lot about patience. And that's what my kind of message is to the team every single year is, just relax, be patient, believe in the training, and those PRs are going to happen. And they're happening right away. So my team's very excited about it.
Yeah, fantastic. And the other thing worth mentioning is change of seasons right now, and weather's starting to get a little cooler, and that's actually ideal for distance running, correct?
Oh yeah. Some people like it a little warmer, like in the 70s, 80s. I'm more of a cold runner guy. I like in the 50s, 60s. That's kind of my sweet spot, and I think that's about the typical, race temperature. Because when you're running, your body temperature actually goes up about up to 20 degrees outside. So if it's 60 outside, your body will get warmer. So if you're running in 90, 100 degree weather, it's going to be tough for you. So I think fall is always a great time to have great races. If you want to go try out run some road 5Ks or 10Ks, those are good times. Summertime you can, but you have to run them really early in the morning before the humidity and heat can get to you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just think of things like the New York and Boston Marathon and those kind of things. And typically they're in a fairly cold time of the year, and they get them started real early while it's still cold.
Yeah. You gotta, accumulate to a lot of things, but my team, I think for the most part, they enjoy running in the cold. So if not, they're just going to get used to
it. Very good. Well, Coach, congrats again. What a great result, and really showing a lot of promise to what's ahead, as far as those 11 PRs in Charlotte this past Friday. And we're going to bring in a couple of those student athletes who did indeed set personal best as joining the program now. Garrett Spangler in the bottom right location, and also Sophia Ogawa. Coach Patrick, before we let you go, can you help introduce these two student athletes to our audience?
Yeah, so first we'll start with Sophia. She is a freshman from practically Greenville, right? So she came in, has worked hard since day one, has really had a positive attitude, just trying to get better herself, but also trying to make her teammates better day in and day out. So she's one of those athletes you kind of have to pull back a little bit, try not to do too much. But works really hard. I can't be more excited. I think UPR by about 3 minutes or so. Right?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
So, yeah, she's already killing it. And then Garrett Spangler, basically where you're from, Columbia, basically.
Columbia, yes.
So sophomore, he's been a year under my training. Definitely seen tremendous growth with him from the last 8K we ran at conference. I think UPR'd by almost 3 minutes as well, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so very excited to have him. He's been crushing it. We just ran Art Loeb today, and he just broke another personal record on Art Loeb. So he's on a roll right now. So can't wait to see what he can do later this year.
Very good, Coach. Well, congrats again on the big result in Charlotte. Best of luck in the return visit to Charlotte, and also what's ahead with conference competition. Thanks for joining the show, Coach Darryll Patrick, cross country.
All right. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, really excited to talk to these two student athletes. Sophia Ogawa, the freshman from Eastleigh, South Carolina, in the upstate of South Carolina. Sophia, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Garrett Spangler, the sophomore from the Columbia, South Carolina area, Dutch Fork High School. Garrett, thanks for joining the program.
Happy to be here.
Well, Garrett, let's start with you. The big day for, pretty much the entire team, but both of you in particular as well. And you had a time of 26:25, a personal best, and you led the Tornadoes men's side of things in Charlotte. Can you tell us about that race in particular, how you felt, what were the challenges? And, I'd imagine you're gratified with the result.
For sure. Yeah, I was super nervous before the race. I really went into it just hoping to just PR. Last year at conference was a really tough course, so I knew that no matter what, I just wanted to go sub 29 was all I was really hoping for. I put like everything I had, and it was anybody's race. Like right behind me was Devin, and then right behind Devin was Dalton. Like it was really anybody's race. Like at any point, we ran the whole race together. It was really just the last mile. It really was just a guts race from there. Like it was a super good race. I've never had so much fun in a race before. It was a lot of fun.
And before we bring in Sophia, Garrett, you kind of talked about running with your teammates and kind of getting that rhythm going, a pack of sorts. Can you kind of talk about that and how important that is in a, collegiate cross country race?
It's super important. It's always good to have teammates to keep you there and keep you accountable to not even in races, just in practices to get you up for the long runs and get you ready for the workouts. It's always good to have like accountable teammates just keep you going. So in the race, it was extremely helpful just to have Devin and Dalton right there ahead of me, just keep me pushing.
Very good. And Sophia, also a personal best. And as Coach mentioned, I mean, you absolutely crushed it. 3 minutes. I mean, it's like just blowing away your previous record. Can you tell us about the race in particular? And did you realize you were on your way to a personal best?
I think that, well, it was my first ever real college race, and so I didn't know what to expect. I knew from the start that I'm at a much higher level and I'm competing at a much higher level than I was before, because before I was in the 30-minute range and I never expected to be in 20 minutes. So I felt in the moment that I would PR, and I thought to myself while I was running how good it would feel when I do PR and how good it would feel seeing a PR. I didn't think it would be that big, but the race was exhilarating. I would say it was very fun, and it was easier than I thought it would be. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to have that PR at all.
Yeah, and PRs from several of your teammates on the women's side as well. Zoe Capps, Ashen Carswell, Sandra Diaz-Martinez, all with their own PRs. Were you kind of like we were talking with Garrett, were you aware of those teammates of yours throughout the race?
Well, 4 of us actually. It was all of our first college race, so none of us knew what we were doing going into it. A lot of us just tried to stay together. I think with Ashton Cashwell, it was her first ever 5K period. And so for her to run, I think she ran 25. That was amazing for her. And then it was me and Haley Lane and Sandra, and we were all sticking as a group together, and we were working off of each other. And I think that was the 3 of us. That was how we got through the race. And then Zoe, she was up at the front working. And I actually didn't know she got a PR. That's news to me now. But I think that all of us just put in the training together at practice, and having a girls team for the first time ever, we get to work together. And that's, why we have done so well in this first meet.
And Garrett, 30 schools were at this event in Charlotte, and they're from all over, the Southeast in particular, but not many of them are from the mountains like we are in Brevard, North Carolina. And especially for you guys as cross country runners, you have the benefit of this amazing set of trails right around campus here, both on campus and off, and the ability to get to elevation and really test your body in terms of training. Can you talk about that benefit of being in this mountain location?
Yeah, we're in a perfect location for cross country. There's nowhere better around in the area. There's no reason for us to fail. We have it set up for us perfect out here. There's between the elevation and the mountains and the hills and the trails, there's this ample everything. There's no reason why we shouldn't succeed. And so I think we felt that a lot on Friday as well, because it was a flat course, but we were so used to the drag of those hills that we got into a flat course, we could just really feel ourselves go. So it was really nice to be on that flat course after all this hill training and all that. So it was really nice.
Yeah, it's sort of that mentality. If you practice hard, it makes the game day easy. And Garrett, Coach mentioned Art Loeb Trail, certainly kind of a famous trail around here. But from a running perspective, can you tell us even more what that's like?
Art Lobe, it's about an 8-mile loop that we do. It's got a little less than 2,000 feet of elevation, which is a lot in such a short amount of mileage. And always our goal was to go sub-hour. And so we've had 5 guys on the team that have done it now, which is like a really good spot. One of our coaches, Coach Tager, says that if you can go sub-hour, you can go sub 16 in a 5K. So hopefully we'll see the results from that in track season. But yeah, it's really nice to like get on those trails, especially trails like that really you push yourself on. It's really nice.
And Sophia, have you had the chance to enjoy the trails and the mountain side of this location?
Well, in the moment, I'm not very much enjoying it at all. They're very difficult, and I've never trail run before, and so it's difficult. But I also agree that it's perfect for us because when we run on these trails with such high elevation, when we get to a track or to a cross country meet like this one that we just ran, that's flat, it feels so much faster and so much easier than it does every single day at practice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Garrett, tell us a little bit about your academics. Have you selected a major, and what are you studying?
I'm environmental and a Willie major. I'm hoping to go into the National Park Service one day. I declared environmental last year, and then I actually don't think I've declared Willie yet. I think I'm getting ready to declare for a Willie major soon. But yeah, I'm a double major.
Very good. Yeah, for those not familiar, Willie stands for here at Brevard College, Wilderness Leadership and Experiential Education, basically all things outdoors. Sophia, I know you're just getting started in your collegiate career, but do you have your eye on something in terms of major in academics?
My dream has been to major in psychology because I want to go into childhood and adolescent trauma therapy and psychology. And so that's what I have my eye on right now. I haven't thought of much in terms of a double major or minor, but I think my one goal is psychology.
Very good. Well, before we let you go, I want to give you each the opportunity to give any thank yous or shout outs. Anyone who may have helped you along the way, someone who might be watching the program or catching it on replay, or just somebody in general who may have helped you along the way. Garrett, get us started. Shout outs or thank yous?
I'd like to thank my parents. They always show up to my races. I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Taylor, my coaches and my teammates for always being supportive. And my coaches from Rec League, too. They've always been there for me and always been very supportive.
Well said. Sophia, thank yous or shout outs?
Well, I would start with my parents because they support me through everything. And even though they don't get to come to most of the races because of work and travel and stuff, they still, my mom still checks up on me and asks me how I did, my times, and she keeps up with a lot of things. My coaches from high school and Coach Patrick here that just keep encouraging me and keep pushing me to, work my hardest. I've never been the top athlete, but they all still believe in me. And then I guess lastly, my team, they're there for me all the time. And even outside of sports, they're always there to encourage and just to work hard with me. And so a thank you to them for working hard and being them.
Nicely done. Not only with these thank yous and shout outs, and not only on this appearance on Tornado Talk, but this past Friday night, just a remarkable night for Brevard College cross country. And you two were 2 of 11 student athletes who set personal records at that event in Charlotte, North Carolina. Great job, Sophia Ogawa and Garrett Spangler. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of our guests, not only Sophia and Garrett, but also head cross-country coach Darryll Patrick, tennis student athletes Lily Farr and Andrew Ingram. From the women's soccer team, we had Lena Hatter and Emma White, Ashley Hoxit and Bailey Lance from volleyball, along with their coaches, Coach Anna Grant and assistant coach Kia Kaufman from volleyball. Thank our sponsors, Brevard Orthopedics, Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Pepsi, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. And I want to thank our producer, Joseph Marvin, for all he does behind the scenes. Make sure you check out Brevard College Athletics on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't done so already, if you're watching this program on YouTube, be sure to hit that little bell and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll get all the notifications when we go live. Well, we'll have action for you this week, especially on the men's and women's soccer side of things. And then the following week, the weekend of October the 9th, is homecoming. So a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks here at Brevard College. Well, thanks again for joining the program. Another great edition of Tornado Talk. Go Tornadoes!